Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today I have got Judith Quin on the show, and we are going to be talking about a topic that I am very excited about actually. We're going to be talking about embracing the whole of who we are and choosing our identity. So Judith, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
I'm excited to have you here. Could you just tell us who you are and what you do before we dive into this
Hmm.
fabulous topic?
Yes. So, who I am a barefoot on the earth loving, tree hugging, crystal collecting, vocal sound healing, meat eating, fast car watching, heavy metal rock chick.
I love that. What an what an intro. What way to announce yourself.
Who I am, we can add some Shakespeare playing and red wine drinking in there too. Um, what I do is liberate voices to liberate and elevate lives, which really is the deep work of deep self awareness, letting go of old identities, labels, roles that either actually never were us, but they were the labels, identities are all put upon us by others that we feel we've had to live up to fit in and to get by in society. Um, or they're the ones that were true and that we have lived, but they're not who we are now. And it's about embracing the wholeness of us. Like my business is your whole voice because it's about the whole of who you are and not just going, well, this bit of me is acceptable, so I'll show this bit of me. And oh, I don't really like this bit of me, so I'll squash that bit of me. So the work I do is help people step into their wholeness, to take up space so that they can feel unshakable when they speak about who they are and what they do.
I absolutely love that. And I think when you talk about showing the whole of you, that's a learning in itself, isn't it? Because so often through how we've been brought up, society, like everything in our current culture is it's not safe to show the whole of us. We've got
No.
to be this certain version of who we think we need to be.
And we don't have to show the whole of us all the time to everyone. And there's an analogy I always use, and I have a crystal on my desk, which is perfect for it. And it is, you never know what bit you're going to see. And but a crystal is always the whole of the crystal, and you can never see the whole of it because one bit of it will always be behind. One bit of it might be resting on the table and is the bottom of it. So you'll never see the whole of it. And maybe no one will ever see the whole of you. But if you don't embrace and deeply know the whole of you, then you can't choose which of your lovely, shiny, sparkly bits you want to show to people. And so it's about, we need to embrace the whole of who we are to know ourselves deeply in order to then be able to stand in the space and go, actually, this space that I'm in, I'm going to show these bits of me, but I'm not hiding the rest of me. It's just like, actually, I'm choosing to show these bits rather than I'm squashing, hiding, embarrassed by, ashamed of the other parts.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about choosing our identity. What does that even mean? Because I think there's a lot of talk around identity shifting and stepping into this new identity. And like, there's just so much talk, especially in the work that I do in terms of brand and personal brand. What does
Yeah.
that even mean, choosing your identity?
Sort of an extension of what I was just saying. We can't choose a lot of who we are, right? We are, a lot of it is genetics, a lot of it is DNA, a lot of it is there, but we can choose how we show up, and especially in terms of business, in terms of brand, we can choose what we share and how we appear and approach. And that's not about being fake. It's about choosing which parts of our integral, authentic self is appropriate for what moment. And in terms of brand, it's like, okay, well, what part of me? So, for example, my introduction to who I am is what I choose because I'm so tired of just being like, oh, who are you? Oh, well, and leading with what you do for work. And I did that for years and years and years. So I was a classically trained professional actress before I moved into the work I do now. And all I'd ever wanted to do was act since I was about 8. And it was my whole identity. And it carried so much pressure and weight in terms of my worth and my value. And when I stepped away from acting, which is a longer story, it nearly broke me, because when you have a vocation, what you like, who you are and what you do are inseparable. Like, so people would say, oh, who are you? And I would lead with, I'm an actress. Because it was the whole of my being. It was my identity. And it meant I didn't value the other parts of me, in fact, which are also a part of my identity, which I gave no value to. So now I choose the whole of me, even the bits that other people get pissed off with or don't like or find irritating, even the bits that I get exasperated by sometimes, and even the bits that I'm ashamed of and don't like. Like, a part of me is rageful. And especially in the holistic healing world, it's like, oh, you can't admit that you have rage. I'm like, well, yeah, I do. And it comes up so rarely these days, so rarely. But occasionally, if I'm deeply hurt or if I feel deeply betrayed, my rage, or if I'm extremely tired and lost, my rage will bubble up.
Yeah.
And if I deny that, then I'm wasting energy squishing a part of me. If I choose to accept that is a part of who I am, it's not the identity I lead with, right? I don't lead with ragey Judith, but
I'm really angry.
Yeah, which is a brand choice, by the way. There are some people who do, but I can choose where I share what I share. And that's what I mean by choosing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go to a shop and go, I'm going to have a bit of that. Like, I'm not, what am I not? I'm not patient, right? I can choose to enhance my patience, but it's not a part of the who I am. Yeah. I'm not very graceful. I would love it. One of the things I like when I talk about choosing how you want to show up when you're in a space, very often it's having that awareness of who you are can then help you grow and develop the bits that you're not. So if I'm wanting more grace, I go, okay, it's not a part of my identity. It's not a part of what I was naturally gifted with. Thanks, DNA, universe, or spirit, whatever one chooses. But if I wished to embody some grace, what would I do? Well, I'd fill into how I would imagine if Michelle Obama, if her spirit suddenly filled up my body, because I think she exudes grace.
Yeah.
So I can then choose to embody that for those situations. So, yeah. Sorry, long answer, but it's quite complex.
Yeah. And I think that the whole thing around identity is it will shift, won't it? We go through so many different phases of life, particularly as women. We go through obviously youth, and we become mothers, and then we're meant to care for older children, and then we have our children fly the nest, and we've just got all these different phases of life that we have to go through. So obviously your identity is going to shift naturally anyway, even if you don't even do the inner work. So it's a huge ongoing journey, isn't it?
It is. And there's so many labels, roles that get put upon everyone, but particularly on women, and especially as a woman without children, then it is interesting how the caring role, it's like, oh, well, you don't have kids, so you've got the time, the energy, the capacity to do the caring elsewhere. It's like, do I know? Like, why is that assumption being made? or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So those and the labels get put on everyone, male, female, neuter, like whatever. But yes, women in particular, it is getting better. But women in particular have so many shifts of identity, and that's about the embracing the wholeness and going, actually, what no longer serves me. This is the big thing, especially in relation to voice and being seen and being heard.
Yeah.
Because if we're still living something that maybe was true when we were younger, but isn't true now, or we're living something that was never true, but it was put upon us because that was our family role or society's accepted role. And we've been living it, even if it goes against our nature. It's so powerful to allow ourselves to release that and make space for the wholeness of who we actually are. Um, and then, as our voice is a reflection of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences, if we are embodying and embracing who we are, if we're embodying the identity we choose, how we choose to show up in the world, then the voice will naturally be stronger, clearer, and feel more authentic, both to self and others.
Yeah. And I think, like you say, it's a choice, isn't it? It is you choosing to show which parts of you feel comfortable sharing, but also having parts of you that actually maybe nobody ever sees.
Yeah. And that being okay, as long as you know it. This is the like the deep self-awareness is the most important thing. I could choose to never share that I have a ragey side. I could actually, my clients quite like it when I go into my garden. They're like, oh, we love this. We love feisty Judith. We love angry Judith. They like it when it's like focused out elsewhere. I very rarely does it ever get focused directly on a human being these days. But it's that like irreverent me again. Like my irreverence is a massive part of why my clients love working with me. I could feel ashamed about it, I could be quiet about it, but actually, then I also choose to share my soft, gentle, squishy little pussycat me for balance.
Yeah.
But there are other parts that no, like they're mine, thanks very much. And we have that choice. And it's about allowing ourselves to show up in the world in the way that is best for us, is best for those we serve, for those with businesses. And that may be different, and that's okay, as long as it comes from a part of the whole rather than what we perceive others want from us. And that's where the challenge comes.
Yeah. And how do you overcome that challenge? Because that is something that comes up for so many of us. I know myself included, as I've gone on my own healing journey and learned more about myself, been very aware of how I do certain things or where things come from, or where if I've been triggered by something, rather than now I'll go straight, I would have gone straight into, I'm really angry about this thing. I've been really triggered by it. Now I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Why have I got that feeling that's come up? Where has that come from? And you then you're just more aware of where that's come from and do more of that deeper work. But yeah, it's just an ongoing thing, isn't it? But how do you overcome that fear of, but this doesn't feel safe for me to show up in this way or to be this kind of person? Or where do I even start with like knowing who I am?
Mm.
I feel like I've just asked about 8 questions in that one.
Yeah, I'm going to hone it into the what feels safe to share and how. So when I started this business as a business, so I've been doing this work since 2011. So I haven't just jumped on either the coaching or the sound healing bandwagons. And I've been doing vocal sound healing since 2011. And then I trained as a coach because apparently I was doing it anyway. One of my clients was like, I didn't know you're a coach. I'm like, I'm not, but you've got a coach. I'm like, this is back in 2015 before every second person was a coach. I'm like, a coach? I don't even know what you're talking about. Why? Because I've paid thousands of pounds to train to do what you're doing. You're doing coaching. This is just the way I work. So then I went and trained as a coach in 2015. And 2016 was my suicidal blip. And when I stepped away from acting, so big identity shift. And then 2017, I formed Your Whole Voice. And when I started, I literally only led with vocal confidence, public speaking, because I believe that was what was socially acceptable, what people would understand. And to be fair, I wasn't wrong in terms of what people would understand. But also I felt that the spiritual side, the vocal sound healing, energetic connection, as practical as the vocal sound healing is, there is obviously a deeply spiritual part to it too, and higher self connection, chakra energy work. I kept that hidden away. Like, oh, okay, I won't talk about that unless I'm in a holistic environment.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a holistic or spiritual environment, yes, chakras, energy, colors, intuition, higher self, universe, source, essence, awesomeness. But anywhere else, no, no, we'll squash. No, we won't. We'll just hide that there. Yeah, no, vocal confidence, public speaking, yes, articulation, pace, pitch, posture, projection, yes, very much so. And it wasn't until I even had a separate website. I was just like, literally, it was that divided. And I was chatting to an insurance company about going in to do a talk for them. And I was talking about, yep, we'll talk about voice, vibration, energy. Don't worry. So when I talk about vibration, I'm not bringing all my hippie woo vocal sound healing chakra energy colors into it. So that's the other side of my business. I'm talking about literally the physical vibration of your voice. And the two heads of HR who were on the call with me went, okay, yeah, that's really great. Also, tell us more. Tell us what's the sound healing thing. And I went, oh shit. The stuff I've been keeping quiet is the stuff people really find interesting.
Mm.
So it's allowing ourselves to be the whole. And then of course what happened as soon as I started talking about that, that's when my business actually really started working. I've taken vocal sound healing into a workshop in the Bank of England for a team in the Bank of England. Like, you can't get much more establishment patriarchy. And yet I take it under the guise of the 15-second stress reducer. But the people who booked me knew exactly what they were getting. So that's why it's hard, because we believe that we will be negatively judged. We believe that it's not socially acceptable. And also, so often the power lies in the bits that we are not showing.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. So when you talk about the spiritual practice, for the majority of us, it's something we've never even heard like at all. You see very few programs about it on TV. It's not really in books, in the media. Like, you don't hear about it in school or anything. So for the majority of people I speak to that have gone on this path of embracing spirituality or understanding more about it, it's been from they've hit a rock bottom moment, or things just aren't working, and something's just come into their life that, oh, that's a bit interesting, I've never even heard about that, and almost this exploration phase that they go through. But it does tend to come for the majority of people later in life, doesn't it? It's in your adult, like into your adulthood, definitely.
For most people, yes. For me, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my grandmother used to read cards.
Wow.
My mum bought me my first tarot deck when I was 16. I think I went to my first Mind Body Spirit event, got my first crystal when I was sort of 14, 15. We talked about seeing ghosts. Like, the first encounter I remember, I'd have been 4.5. It was on the first family trip to Ireland, so 4.5 or 5. And I remember saying to mum when I was about 15, 16, going, you know that holiday in Ireland? So was it just me, or did we stayed somewhere and we weren't there long? And then I was terrified because there was this ghost. She went, oh yeah, that's why we only stayed there one night, because I felt it too, and we were meant to be there 3 nights.
Oh, wow.
So those conversations, that was always, which makes me a little unusual. It's one of the things that makes me unusual. I've never had a permanent full-time job. That's one of the others. So spirituality for me was very much part of my life, and it was like Irish father, so nominally Catholic, but not really. My grandmother, my English grandmother, was religious, but she's the one who also read the playing cards, and she'd do fortune readings for us, and mum was open to everything. So I have always had that. So it's just a part of what I do.
Yeah.
Energy work, like I massaged as a kid. My whole family would massage each other, and I've always had magic with heads and headaches. So that has always been a part of my life, which is why partly I think I just didn't value it.
Mm.
And it wasn't until later that I realized, in a corporate trying to make money world, I was like, oh, other people don't. You're right. Yeah, most other people don't know. So I'll not talk about this because people think it's weird, even though it's something that's always been there for me.
Yeah.
But my philosophy on spirituality is I very much call myself practically spiritual. And spirituality is simply the practical tools and techniques that work for you, that help you live this human life as close as possible to the energy of your higher self, your pure spirit source essence. So if we think our higher self is our pure spirit, then spirituality is just using the tools and techniques that help us live this human life as close as possible to that version of us that doesn't have any of our human gunk and is just in all our pure glory.
I love that. And actually, hadn't even thought about it before, but I definitely didn't grow up surrounded by this. I think I had my first encounter with a ghost when I was 12, maybe. But it was very much like it wasn't a talked about thing. Like nobody in my family was really into that kind of thing. It was just my own personal experience. But the work that I do now, like with card readings and things, like my kids are just so into that and they'll always thank the universe and like all of this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I hadn't even realized that the work that I'm doing now is actually impacting them. And they're like 10, 7, and 4. So it's amazing.
It's so awesome it being a normal thing. Like mum gave me Jonathan Livingston Seagull to read when I was 17. I didn't even think of it as a self-help, self-development book because it was just in the vein of
Yeah.
the kind of stuff we read, like, astrology, everything was welcome. So yeah.
Yeah. I think some of this as well. I wonder if a lot of this is more of a remembering because this spirituality and spiritual practices and everything were all part of our lives, like however
Mm-hmm.
many years ago. So I think some of that's why people come across this work or whichever modality they go down. It's almost that light bulb moment. It's that like it's almost that wake up of like, oh my God, this now suddenly makes sense. Like, why did I not know about this before?
Yes. And we need to remember that we did and we do. Um, religions are all spiritual practices. They are all spiritual practices. It's just they have been patriotized, and they've become a mode of control as much as a mode of um, living and celebration. Irish father, real Catholics, they strongly believe like the angels are real, right? To Catholics, it's like yeah, the angels have power. So we forget that because the spirituality almost has got lost from a lot of religion,
Mm,
but actually that's where it comes from. And then we have things like Halloween, which has become, Americanized and commercialized,
yeah.
but actually is there for it's the veil where the earth, where the veil between the living and the dead is thin. There's um, the Christmas, which is really solstice, Easter, which is equinox. So it's all there. It just has been taken out of our life and it's coming actively back into our lives as the human race realized that we need this connection to another vibration, and that in ourselves is a part of how we choose to be and how we choose to show up, which may or may not be a large or a small part of our identities.
Mm, I love that. Okay, for anyone that is listening to this today that has just suddenly thought, okay, I've heard various things to do with identity and I've heard things about nervous system, spirituality, like all of these different modalities that I talk about on the show. If there's someone that's listening to this today that's just thought, okay, there's something here, I'm ready to just be open to explore this next chapter and to discover more about myself, to really find out what my identity is, how to be my full self, what would be your piece of advice to that person in that moment?
Oh, it's find the tool that works for you. And I know that's not particularly useful. It does involve sort of dabbling in. So it might be like vocal sound healing for me opened up so much because it works from the inside out, and our voice is so much a part of our identity. Right? I mean, if you can't get more identity than voice,
Yeah.
other than visual. Um, so feel what your questions are about yourself, and explore what makes your heart sing or your soul shine, and follow those, because those are the things that live in your truth. When we're in our wholeness, when we're in the truth of like who we are in terms of identity, on the highest vibration, in all our glory, without our human gunk, it's the things that make our soul sing, that make our heart light shine. That is our identity. So follow those first if you're just starting out, because that will then be an easier way in for you to then explore into the shadow and into the gunk, to realize what you're holding on to, and maybe those labels that need peeling off. And they might be like those old labels that you're sticking and you can't get them off the bottom of your shoe, right? So start with the labels that are just tied on with a little bow, or actually are a bit frayed, that maybe you're like, oh, that one's ready to go, before you start getting the sticky labels that don't want to peel off.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, like you said before a couple of times on this episode, it's just finding what works for you. It's exploring different things, because there's no one foundational strategy that is going to work for everybody. And this is the path to find yourself. It's got to be what feels good to you.
Yeah. And, as someone who works with voice as her main tool, I would strongly advise exploring your voice at some point, especially if you find speaking up, speaking about yourself difficult, challenging. Then there will be some kind of identity disconnect there, with whether that is low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-belief, low self-confidence, whether that is questioning, like, who am I, to X, Y, or Z. And that will all be linked to identity. So if you're someone who's like, I don't want to fluff around, I want to go straight for the center, then I would say start with your voice and those situations that you find challenging, and work with someone who you resonate with, who you trust, to help you find connection to yourself, to open your voice, to be able to then happily find your brand, find your, whether that's your life brand, whatever that is. And my brand is dichotomy, right? both and. So yeah, if you're looking for like the sharp arrow in, the voice is a good place to start.
Amazing. Judith, how can we connect with you? What is the best way to find you online?
My website, yourwholevoice.com, or I have two Instagrams, because one focuses on the sound healing. So I have vocal_sound healing, or Your Whole Voice, which is Instagram, Facebook. Or if it's more professional level, you're looking, if LinkedIn is your place, I'm Judith Quin, Vocal Confidence.
Amazing. I will pop all of those links in the show notes below. For anyone that would like to go and connect with Judith, please do leave a review on this episode if you found this really helpful. Connect with Judith online and drop me a message. Let me know what you thought. I cannot wait for the next episode. Thank you so much, Judith, for coming on today.
My absolute pleasure. It's been a delight.
Lovely.
And may I offer a suggestion for comments?
Yes.
In the comments, write, what is the label you're letting go of?
Oh.
Are you letting go of the good girl? Are you letting go of people pleasing? Are you letting go of the black sheep of the whatever your label is that you're letting go of? Put that
I love that. Letting go so that you can move forward.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, thanks so much, Judith. And I will see you on another episode very soon. Take care, guys.